How much darkness can one man's ambition cast? Welcome to the reign of King Leopold II of Belgium, an era marked by extreme brutality and exploitation under the guise of a civilizing mission. This king, whose rule was once hailed as an economic triumph, now symbolizes the utmost human cruelty. In the late 19th century, King Leopold II claimed the resource-rich region now known as the Democratic Republic of the Congo. This was not a mere colonial endeavour, but his private possession and a terrifying reign of horror, characterized by brutal acts of violence. King Leopold II of Belgium was a ruler with a strong desire for power and wealth, known for his cruel deeds that have left a mark on history. He was born in 1835 and became king in 1865, ruling with great severity for nearly 40 years. However, it wasn't Belgium that bore the brunt of his ambition, but the far-off African region of Congo. In 1885, a gathering of 14 European countries, known as the Berlin Conference, agreed to Leopold's claim on the Congo. This area was almost 80 times larger than Belgium. Leopold II justified his colonization of Congo by saying it was for the betterment of its native people. He claimed his intent was to modernize them, end the Arab slave trade, and introduce Christianity and commerce. But in reality, he had an hidden agenda to personally profit from this venture. Once Leopold had control over Congo, he immediately set up the Congo Free State. He didn't involve the Belgian government in this, and instead created a separate governing body for Congo directly under his own command. This meant he could use Congo's resources, notably its ivory and rubber, freely without anyone holding him accountable. In the early 1890s, the world's demand for rubber increased due to the rise of bicycles and later cars. King Leopold II took advantage of this situation, transforming the whole of Congo into a vast labour camp. Congolese people of all ages, including children, were compelled to collect rubber from the dangerous jungle. If they refused or couldn't reach their set targets, they faced severe punishments. Therefore, King Leopold II, while pretending to be promoting civilization, essentially enslaved a whole nation to increase his wealth. His reign over Congo wasn't just that of a king, but a systematic and ruthless exploitation of its people for his personal benefit. King Leopold II ran an oppressive regime in Congo where he enforced a cruel system of forced labour designed specifically for harsh exploitation. The colonizers set weekly rubber collection quotas for every Congolese man. Failure to meet these quotas resulted in severe punishments, which we will discuss later. The labourers worked under terrible conditions. They were sent deep into the dangerous jungles to extract rubber from wild vines, a task that was both dangerous and physically draining. With only basic tools and no proper training, they had to stay in the jungle for days and nights, exposed to the harsh weather and wildlife. Food was scarce, leading to widespread starvation among the labourers who had to work tirelessly, pushing their bodies beyond their limits. There was an outbreak of injuries, infections and diseases with no available medical care. For many, it was a slow and painful march towards death. The forced labour system had a devastating effect on the Congolese population. Some estimates suggest that the population of Congo was reduced by half, from about 20 million to 10 million between 1885 and 1908. This drastic decrease was due to a combination of forced labour, disease, famine and direct killings. Families were split apart and whole communities were wiped out. The psychological trauma was deep and lasting, with survivors living in a state of ongoing fear and powerlessness. Therefore, this was more than forced labour, it was a systematic cycle of abuse and exploitation. Another stomach-churning atrocity commonly employed during Leopold II's rule was hand amputations. This chilling form of punishment was not simply used in response to disobedience, but was used as a chilling tool of psychological warfare aimed at instilling fear and ensuring compliance among the Congolese population. This horrific practice was primarily enforced by the Force Publique, a paramilitary group set up by Leopold. If the demanding rubber quotas were not met, individuals often faced this terrifying punishment. No one was spared, including men, women, and even children. The Force Publique presented their severed hands as dreadful proof of punishment to their superiors. It's challenging to determine exact numbers, but historical accounts and photos testify to the regular occurrence of this cruel act. During Leopold's rule, seeing people with amputation scars became a distressingly common sight in Congo. The psychological damage from these amputations was just as severe as the physical pain. It served a constant reminder of Leopold's total control over their lives. People lived in constant fear, knowing any perceived failure or disobedience could result in such a terrible consequence. This practice also led to the breakdown of Congolese social structures. The amputees, unable to work or participate in community activities as before, were often pushed to the margins. Their reduced ability to contribute to family and community life deepened their suffering, fostering feelings of helplessness and despair. Another horrifying strategy of King Leopold II's regime was taking hostages to ensure work productivity. In addition to the forced labour and hand amputations, the Belgian colonisers sunk to new depths, using the labourers' families as hostages to ensure the demanded rubber quotas were met. Under this system, the Force Publique, or local chiefs working for Leopold, would capture the wives and children of the labourers. They were kept in terrible conditions, facing both physical and emotional abuse. Only when the labourer met his quota would his family be freed. This extreme situation pushed many labourers to their limits, forcing them to work in harsh conditions to ensure the release of their family members. It's difficult to measure how widespread this brutal practice was, but evidence from missionaries, eyewitness accounts, and contemporary reports depict a bleak scene. Hostage-taking became a typical aspect of Leopold's rule, further intensifying the terror already widespread among the Congolese. The effects of this practice were extensive and deeply destructive. It shattered Congolese family and community structures, causing long-term socio-economic impacts. The mental trauma suffered by both the hostages and their family members was immense, resulting in a chain of psychological problems that affected multiple generations. King Leopold II's regime also used a terrifying tactic of starvation as a form of punishment. Starvation was not due to a lack of resources, but was a calculated and ruthless tool for controlling the workforce. Congolese labourers, who were pressured to meet unrealistic rubber quotas, had no time for farming or hunting. As a result, famine was widespread, with people dying from hunger, weakened to the point they couldn't resist or flee from their oppressors. This artificial famine was another fear that greatly affected the Congolese during Leopold's rule. Chronic malnutrition led to children's stunted growth, weakened immunity, and a higher susceptibility to diseases, resulting in high death rates. This caused severe disruption in society as communities struggled to survive under such a constant threat. Whipping was another severe punishment frequently used during King Leopold II's ruthless rule in Congo. This cruel practice was performed using a whip made from the raw, sun-dried hide of a hippopotamus known as chicote. The chicote in the hands of the Force Publique, or local chiefs, became a tool of terror. It was liberally used to enforce obedience and punish those who couldn't meet the strict rubber quotas or tried to resist the Belgian rule. The pain from the whip was intense, resulting in deep, bloody wounds. The scars from this punishment served as lifelong reminders of the endured suffering. This harsh punishment had long-term physical and psychological impacts. Survivors were left with chronic pain, physical disabilities, and severe trauma. The fear of the whip created an atmosphere of terror and despair among the Congolese people, causing disruption in the social structure of their communities. Finally, the burning of entire villages was not just an occasional act of violence, but a systematic policy designed to crush the spirit of the Congolese people. This brutal tactic was used when villagers couldn't meet the harsh rubber quotas or tried to resist the oppressive regime. Villages were destroyed, homes burned to ashes, and the residents were either killed or displaced. For instance, in 1895, Lieutenant Leopold reportedly set fire to several settlements along the Congo River, leaving thousands homeless. This violent act severely damaged the social and economic structure of communities, leading to displacement, food shortages, and the loss of cultural heritage. The psychological trauma survivors experienced was immense, and the fear instilled by these acts effectively squashed any further resistance. Overall, these shocking punishments carried out by King Leopold II in Congo reveal a period of human history where power and greed overrode humanity. These events pose a haunting question that remains with us. How could such atrocities be allowed to happen unchecked? That's all for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a like, and share our channel for more intriguing content. We look forward to seeing you soon in our next video.